Hello, 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 and very good afternoon, and warm welcome to ODA's YouTube channel. Here with me with one more amazing session. I hope all of you are doing well. So, are you all doing well? If yes, you can type one in the comment section. That's great. All right. So, today we are back to learn one more amazing topic, and today we'll be learning about sexual reproduction in angiosperms. Before starting ahead, I would like to introduce to ODA class to all of you out there. So, my dear students, the class which you're watching right now is YouTube channel, right, where you're learning. See, we ODA class provides a specified course for all the students. And yes, my dear students, we have designed an amazing course where most of the students from India have already joined and they are availing those benefits out of it. So now it's your time that even you can join to this crash course program. So basically, it's a 1 week of program where you can learn 6 chapters, three of maths and three of science with dual teachers of ODA class. Here in YouTube channel, you don't have a dual teacher. I'm a master teacher who's gonna teach you live. I'll say tata, bye bye, I'll go, right? But you don't have a personal mentor teacher to give you post class support. If you want a personal mentor teacher who can give you, who can provide you a post class support regarding the completion of your homework, whether it is providing that complete preparation for the test, okay, or whether it is to conduct one-to-one personal sessions with you, then you can enroll to the crash course program. It's a week of fun learning where you can learn uh, concepts of maths and science with dual teachers, master teacher who's going to teach you live, and a mentor teacher who's going to give you post class support. So during this 1 week of course, we're also going to provide you homework, test and app itself, and most amazing part, we'll be providing ebooks for more and more reference and practice. So all these amazing benefits you can avail right now by just tapping to this link that is there in the description box. So once you tap onto the link which is there in the description box, you will be taken to enroll now page. Click to that page and complete the payment according to your classes. By doing that, you will be part of Crash Course program. So moving ahead, I would also like to introduce myself. So my name is Sayada Nayaab. I have done my master's degree in biotechnology. I have more than 4 years of teaching experience and I'm science master teacher here at ODA class. So during this 4 years of journey, I have mentored more than 15,000 students like you. And yes, even you can be also one of them, but only through the Crash Course program. So, as you know, today we will be learning about sexual reproduction in angiosperms. If you have attended or if you've watched my previous session regarding the structure of flower and its type, then this topic is going to be very easy. But no worries, here again we're going to do a quick recall and we can learn this topic. So basically in this session you are going to learn about the reproduction in angiosperms. So what is angiosperms basically? These are nothing but the plants which produce flowers. ठीक है? Plants that produce flowers are angiosperms. All right. So we're gonna learn how sexual reproduction happens in that plant. But before moving ahead or directly to the topic, I have a question for all of you out there. So all of us love eating fruits, isn't it? We do love eating fruits, right? So can you all quickly type the favorite fruit which you love most to eat and you will be eating anytime, whenever it is. Okay. Yes, mine is mango. Mango is my favorite fruit. I can see most of you are writing strawberry, dragon fruit. Nice. So now tell me, my dear students, so imagine one day your favorite fruit is vanished. बिल्कुल गायब हो जाएगा. ठीक है? So how would you feel when one day your favorite fruit all of a sudden, it will not be there at all. It will vanish. How would you feel at that point of time? Right? You will feel sad or you will feel happy. Can you all type in the chat box, in the comment section? I know all of you love doing, typing, isn't it? So let's do this. Type it in the comment section right now. How would you feel if your favorite fruit is vanished, that is no longer available for all of you to have it? You cannot have it. How would you feel? I would feel sad. I might also cry for that, right? Because it's my favorite fruit, isn't it? So, how can you save your favorite fruit? If you don't want your fruit to be vanished, if you don't want your fruit to be vanished, and if you want that fruit to be there with you every time, every single time, okay, then how can you save that fruit? Yes, I know most of you are answering, ma'am, by growing plants and trees. Do you think, my dear students, by just growing plants and trees, you can save your favorite fruit? If you think, yes, ma'am, by growing plants and trees, I can save the fruit, type 1 in the chat box. Type 1 in the chat box. Okay? Some of you are telling, no. No, ma'am, that is not enough. Yes, even though if I grow mango tree, that is not enough. I cannot save my favorite fruit, mango. There is a specific process for that. Okay? There is a specific proper process for that through which we can save it. And that's a natural process. And that process is, and that process is reproduction. That process is reproduction, and it is this process through which we can save our favorite fruit and we can keep this fruit with us for longer time till we are there here, till we are surviving. So, what is this reproduction now? Reproduction is nothing but it's a biological process. It's a natural process by which an organism reproduces a biological similar offspring. What does this mean? This means, my dear student, when a living organism reproduces their own kind, reproduces their own kind or an offspring, okay, which is genetically similar to them, that process is known as reproduction. Reproduction is nothing but, remaking it. Basically, re is nothing but repeated, right? Re, the word re has been derived from repeat. So it's nothing but repeating that process, okay? So that is to remake, to make their own kind. For example, human gives birth to babies, right? Whereas, you know, human gives birth to babies, birds lay eggs. Similarly, plants, reproduce their own similar kinds. Okay, that is through sexual reproduction. One method is sexual reproduction. If you see this picture, this is a picture of a father and a daughter, right? I hope you can find many similarities here. Can you all guess what is the similarity between father and a daughter here in the picture? Okay, their smile, their forehead, their eyes. So this can only happen through reproduction. So does this picture, right? So this is a picture of a cat and a kitten, the hair color, isn't it? Got it? So this is about a reproduction. Now, my dear students, why do you think plant reproduction is important? Or why do you think it is important for plants to reproduce? What is the necessity? First, you want fruits. It is just that reason that you want to eat your favorite fruit. It is important that plants can reproduce or plants should reproduce. No, there are many reasons, right? All of us are dependent on plants. As a human being, we are dependent on plants for our survival, right? We need oxygen to breathe. Plants release that oxygen, first thing. We are dependent on food from plants. Animals are dependent on plants for food, isn't it, students? Most importantly, plants are dependent on themselves. Okay? Plants are dependent on themselves. Plants, to maintain their future generation, to maintain their progeny, it's very, very important for plants to reproduce because all of us are dependent on plants. In fact, plants are dependent on other plants for their survival. So this is why reproduction in plants is necessary. Okay, students? Okay. So basically, in case of plants, okay, this sexual reproduction is done by flowers. Sexual reproduction is done by flowers. Okay. See, my dear students, Reproduction can take place in two methods: asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In case of flowering plants, sexual reproduction happens. Okay? So in this session, we are going to learn about the sexual reproduction in plants. So basically, in case of plants, flowers are very much important, right? We believe that flowers are the beauty of nature, right? They are the beauty of nature. But at the same time, they are also the reproductive part. They are the reproductive part of a plant. So flower is the sexual reproductive part. This means all that sexual reproduction happens in the flower. So if you have watched my previous session, my dear students, you could have recalled, right? You can watch after this session as well. So where you can see detailed things about flower. Okay. So what is sexual reproduction in flowers basically? When when a new plants are produced from seed, when new plants are produced from the seeds of a plant, it is called sexual reproduction. It is called sexual reproduction. And in case of sexual reproduction, two parents are involved. How many parents? Two parents are involved. Who are those? Male and female. ठीक है, my dear students? In sexual reproduction, two parents, male and female, are involved to produce a new individual. New individual. Always remember, sexual reproduction will happen only with the involvement of two parents. Those are male and female parents. So let's now recall the structure of a flower, right? So as we learned that flower is made up of four main parts, four main whorls, right? The calyx, that is nothing but whorls of sepal, isn't it? Then comes the petals, right? That is corolla, the second part. And the third part which we learned is androecium, right? So androecium is the collection of stamens, this yellow structure, right? This is nothing but androecium. And these stamens are male reproductive part, right? We also learned the last whorl, that is the gynoecium. Gynoecium is the collection of individual reproductive units, that is the pistil, so which is also known as carpel, that is the female reproductive part. So my dear students, when I'm talking about sexual reproduction, you have to remember the structure of a flower. So whole process of sexual reproduction from step 1 to the last step, from the first step to the last step, will happen in this flower only. ठीक है? Clear? So now you have seen a flower. Now you have seen the different parts. So we're gonna recall some more things in detail now. All right? Okay. So moving ahead, my dear students, the structure which you can see here is the structure of a stamen. Okay? So stamen is the male reproductive part of a flower. Okay? It's the male reproductive part of a flower. So you can consider this as a male parent. Okay? This as a male parent. So this stamen consists of two parts. So this stalk-like structure is known as filament. Okay? Listen to me carefully. This stalk-like structure is known as filament. And this structure is supporting a bilobe structure that is present on its top, at its tip. And this structure is known as anther. Very, very important structure to understand the sexual reproduction of plant. Always remember, stamen is the male reproductive part of a flower, whereas it has anther and filament. Anther, okay, anther and filament. So where this anther produces pollen grains. Anther produces what? Pollen grains. Whenever you touch a flower, you will see yellow color powder which has been, which will stick on your fingers. That is nothing but pollen grains. What are these pollen grains? Why are these pollen grains important? Anther produces pollen grains because pollen grains contains male gametes. They contain what? They have male gamete. They carry the male gamete. Okay, what are male gametes? When I say gametes, these are the reproductive cells. These are the reproductive cells. What do you understand by the term reproductive cells? What do you understand by the term reproductive cells? This means These are the cells which are now responsible for the reproduction. For the reproduction. So, anther produces dust-like particles. Dust-like particles. ठीक है? Those dust-like particles are nothing but pollen grains, and pollen grains carry male gametes. They carry male gametes, and male gametes are nothing but male reproductive cells that are further responsible for the reproduction in plants. Okay? Clear? Is this part clear, students? Okay? Similarly, in the flower, we have a female reproductive part, isn't it? That is your pistil. Do not get confused. As I said previously also, pistil or carpel. Okay? Pistil or carpel are one and the same. They are one and the same. Okay? They are one and the same. And this has three structures: stigma, style, and ovary. Okay? So stigma is the topmost part. It is sticky in nature because it is going to receive pollen grain. Okay? Stigma will receive what? Pollen grain. Now between the stigma and ovary, you have a structure, a tube-like structure. This is style. This is style, and style is connecting. It is connecting stigma to the ovary. Stigma to the ovary. It's a connector. And at the base of a pistil, you will find a swollen part. है ना? A swollen part. And that part is ovary. That part is ovary. So inside this ovary, you will find ovules. See, if this is ovary, this swollen base, if this is ovary, inside this ovary, you will find ovules. Okay? Ovules. What are these ovules? These ovules are nothing but, okay, these ovules are nothing but that are present inside the ovary. These ovules are going to carry female gametes. Female gametes, or you can say egg cells. What do you understand by gametes again? These are nothing but female reproductive cells. Who is the male parent? Stamen. What does male parent do? Anther produces pollen grains, and pollen grains carry male gametes. Talking about female reproductive part of a flower, pistil is the female reproductive part, right? It has three structures: stigma, style, and ovary. Stigma receives the pollen grain. Style connects stigma to the ovary. Inside the ovary, you will find ovules, and ovules carry female gametes. They carry what? They carry female gametes. Now, male gametes and female gametes are further responsible for the sexual reproduction in plants. So, this is just like a prerequisite for all of you. We didn't start the steps yet. Okay? We didn't start the steps yet. All right. So, now it's time to start the steps. Okay? Be ready. Listen to me carefully. If you want to drink water, even you can do that. Okay? So you are now ready with the parents, right? So you know what produces what, है ना? What are responsible for what things. Always remember this in mind. When I'm talking about sexual reproduction in plants, gametes plays main role. It is because of gametes the further kind will be, right? Their own kind will be produced. Okay? So the steps that are involved in sexual reproduction of plants are these. So there are three main steps in sexual reproduction of plants. What are those steps? The first step is pollination. After pollination, it is fertilization. After fertilization, it is the final product, fruit and seed formation. It is fruit and seed formation. Clear, everyone? Okay. So what is this pollination basically? Do you have any idea? Do you have any idea about pollination? Or can you tell me what are you getting any thoughts after seeing this beautiful GIF on the screen? Any thoughts? Okay. Okay. So basically, you must have seen bees buzzing around a flower, right? So whether it is at your home or whether you visit a garden, you must have seen bees buzzing around a flower. Why do they buzz around the flower? Basically, they go and collect nectar. Is that the only thing they do? They play an important role in the sexual reproduction of plant. Basically, pollination is nothing but the transfer of pollen grains to the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower is called as pollination. It is called as pollination. Okay, students, when the pollen grains are transferred from anther onto the stigma, that process is called as pollination. This is pollination. So basically during pollination, stigma receives the pollen grain. Stigma receives the pollen grain. And this pollination will happen through agents. They are agents of pollination who are going to transfer this pollen grains. So agents are of two types, biotic and abiotic. So biotic agents, these are the agents who are living organisms. For example, the bee, then insects, okay? So bats, even they do pollinate. And we also have abiotic agents such as wind and water. So agents plays an important role for transferring the pollen grain from anther to the stigma. So if you find any bee buzzing in your garden or in your terrace, so don't disturb it, because it is helping the plant to reproduce, right? It is helping in the transferring of pollen grains to the stigma. Clear, everyone? Okay. So moving ahead, this transfer can be happen in two ways. Okay, there are two types of pollination. First is self pollination, and the another one is cross pollination. What do you mean by self pollination? The self S stands for same plant. The self S stands for same plant. Okay, so when pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma of a flower of a same plant, then it is known as self-pollination. When the pollen grains, okay, when the pollen grains from anther to the stigma are transferred to the flower of a same plant, then this condition is known as self-pollination. It can happen between the same flower, okay, in one flower only, or it can happen between the two flowers of a same plant. So basically, in case of self-pollination, there is no role of plant 2. There is only one plant. So the transfer will either happen in the same flower or it will happen in the two flowers of a same plant. Okay? This is your self-pollination. So the next type of pollination is the cross-pollination. So when I say cross, it means two plants, plant A and plant B. So in this case, the pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma of a flower of a different plant. Different plant. Okay? Different plant. So basically, the transfer is happening between flower of a plant A to flower of a plant B. This is called as cross-pollination. Clear, students? So in case of sexual reproduction of plants, pollination can occur in any one of the method, self-pollination or cross-pollination. In case of self-pollination, the transfer of pollen grain from anther to the stigma will happen in that flower or another flower of a same plant. Okay? It happens in same plant only. But whereas in cross-pollination, the transfer will happen in the plant A to plant B. I mean, flower of a plant A to flower of a plant B. That means there is no same plant here. It is the different plant. Clear, students? Is this clear? Okay. So before moving ahead, my dear students, now it's time to do some questions which will help you to understand self-pollination and cross-pollination in more detailed way. Okay? So all of you are ready? Great. Wonderful. Moving ahead, my dear students. So here is a picture. Okay? You have to identify which type of pollination is happening here. Okay? Take a note. These are the flowers that are present on the same plant. Both flowers are present on the same plant, and your time starts now. Okay? Comment down in the comment section and let me know which type of pollination is happening. Quickly, quickly, students. Which type of pollination is happening? Okay, you are left with 30 more seconds to give me answer. Very easy, important activity. You can see flowers on the same plant. Now just let me know which type of pollination is happening. Is it self or is it cross? One word answer. 20 more seconds. There we go. Flowers of a same plant. This means this flower and this flower is present in one plant only. What did I say? What did I teach you all? When pollen grains are transferred from anther to the stigma of a flower of a same plant, then it is known as self-pollination. Then it is known as self-pollination. So this is your self-pollination here. Okay? Clear everyone? Done? Understood? Okay. So let's do one more question here. So here you have two plants, plant A and plant B. So now you have to tell me which type of pollination is happening here, self or cross. And your time starts now. Come on, champs. Let me know which type of pollination is happening. You can write it down in the comment section. I can see few answers. Self. But just see properly. Try to see this properly. Here are the two flowers of different plant. Plant A and plant B. You have 20 more seconds to answer. Last 20 seconds. It's a good response. Great. All right. Okay, done. So let me explain you now. Here are the two plants present, right? Cross. Plant A and plant B. If you see here, the transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of a flower is happening between a flower of a plant A and flower of a plant B. Here are the two different flowers of different plants, and the answer for this question is the cross pollination. Okay, this is the cross pollination. Okay, so now I'm going to give you one final question. Here you can see, right, this beautiful image. You can see here plant 1 and plant 2, isn't it? So you can see different flowers, flower A, flower B and flower C. Now tell me in which plant or in which flower it is self-pollination. Can you type in which flower it is self-pollination? AB or BC? Come on, quickly. So you have to observe this part, okay? Observe this whole picture and let me know where self-pollination is happening. In between of which plants? Yes, very good. So first is A, right? So the transfer is happening in that plant only. Second is A to B, right? A to B. If you see properly, my dear students, right? If you see properly, observe it properly. So in case of A and B, A is the self-pollination, right? The transfer is happening in the same flower. In case of A to B, flowers are present on the same plant. They are present on the same plant. So the transfer is happening from a flower of a plant A to the flower of a plant B, right? Flower here in the same plant. So therefore, this is self-pollination. This is self-pollination. If you see this image, right, the transfer is happening between flower B of one plant to the flower C of another plant. So this is cross pollination. So I hope this is clear now, right? I hope this is clear now. These questions have given you a clear idea. Got it? So this is how first pollen grains are transferred onto the stigma. Now, once it is transferred, my dear students, once it is transferred, the step 2 is the fertilization. As soon as pollen grains lands onto the stigma, okay, it develops a pollen tube. It develops a tube. See, this is a pollen grain. This is a pollen grain. And now this pollen grain have developed a tube, right? Developed a tube. And this structure is known as pollen tube. Okay. So once the pollen grains lands onto the stigma, it develops a tube, and that is pollen tube. Okay. So now why this structure is important? Why this structure is important? Because this is going to help in the next step. Okay. See, this is the pollen grain. Now pollen grain has developed into pollen tube, and if you observe properly, it is this pollen tube which is helping, right? Which is helping the male gametes to reach to the ovary. This is your ovary. Okay? This is your ovary. Moving ahead, my dear students, basically pollen tubes carries the male gametes. Okay? So this is pollen grain. Now it is carrying the male gametes and it is reaching to the ovary. So inside the ovary, my dear students, the male gamete will combine with the female gamete. Okay? So male gamete will combine with the female gamete. Okay? Male gamete will combine with the female gamete to form a zygote. To form a zygote. This is known as fertilization. The fusion of male gametes with female gametes that forms a zygote is called as fertilization. What is this zygote? Zygote is nothing but the fertilized egg. Okay? It is the fertilized egg. And now, my dear students, these zygotes later on develops into an embryo. What is an embryo? It is which that is going to carry the future generation. Okay, which carries a baby plant, I would say. Okay, not specifically. It is necessary. It is important. Who is going to carry the future generation? Moving ahead, my dear students. After fertilization, there will be changes. Okay, post-fertilization changes. So sepals and petals, they wither off, they fall off. Okay? Sepals and petals, they fall off. Okay, students, they fall off. So what is remaining? It is the ovary and ovule. So after fertilization, okay, ovary remains the same. Okay, ovary remains the same. Style and stigma degenerates. Style and stigma degenerates, and the ovary grows into a fruit. Okay, the last stage where your favorite fruit is formed. Got it? So after fertilization, sepal, petal, stamen wither off. Ovary remains the same. Okay. Now this ovary grows into a fruit. If you see, this is the ovary, right? This is the ripened ovary. Got it, students? So basically, if you see the image properly, this raw, right? We usually, whenever we see a tomato plant, right? So we can see that tomato is first in a green color, later on it ripens into and becomes a red color, isn't it? Something similar. This is that structure. So basically, the green part, which we call it as raw tomato, it's not a raw, okay? It's an ovary. So this ovary later on develops into fruit. And those ovules that are present inside it will become seed. Will become seed. Got it, student? Something, the structure was like this, isn't it? So this was your stigma style, and this is your ovaries here, right? So this ovary will become fruit, and this ovules become seeds. Okay? So that means, my dear students, fruits are nothing but the ripened ovary. What are fruits? Fruits are nothing but ripened ovary. Speaking specifically, the tomato which you were considering as a vegetable, it's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. It's not a vegetable, it's a fruit. Now, What was the definition of sexual reproduction in plants? When our new plants are formed from the seeds, that method is known as sexual reproduction. And these seeds are formed by the fusion of male and female gametes. Male and female gametes, my dear students. So this is how your plant will reproduce. Okay, you can grow the fruit in this way. And my dear students, this when you sow a seed, it will germinate and it will give rise to a new plant. Okay, where fruits develop. Okay, so this is about the sexual reproduction of plants. That is basically sexual reproduction in angiosperm. Now, if you're thinking, ma'am, this was about the reproduction in flowering plants. Reproduction in flowering plants. How about those plants? How about those plants, right, which have no flowers, which do not produce flowers? I mean to say, how about gymnosperms, right? To learn that method, to learn the method that how non-flowering plants reproduce, okay? How to learn how asexual reproduction happens in plants, then make sure, if you want to learn, then you are enrolling to the crash course program. To learn more such of concept in a detailed way, with 12 teachers of ODA class, best master teacher who's going to teach you live, and an amazing mentor who's going to give you post-class support, get yourself enrolled to the crash course program. Here in minutes, you learned how an angiosperm, right? How in angiosperm sexual reproduction takes place. If you're wondering how asexual reproduction happens, then you have to enroll to crash course program. So it's a week of fun learning program where you will be learning chapters of maths and science, 6 chapters in 6 days with dual teachers of ODA class. You will be having a master teacher who's going to teach you live, and you'll be also having a personal mentor teacher who's going to give you post-class support regarding the doubts in your homework or whether it is in the test preparation. Not only that, we also provide e-material for the study purpose. All these amazing benefits you can enroll in you will be receiving in the crash course program. And my dear students, all you have to do is click to that link which is there in the description box. So once you click to that link which is there, you will see enroll now option, and you have to get yourself enrolled at rupees 29, 49 or 99 according to your grades. Okay? Get yourself enrolled and learn the amazing concept, as other students have already enrolled and they are availing those benefits and understanding the concept in a better and in an easy way. So my dear students, do not forget to download the ODA app. If you complete the enrollment and if you download it, you will be receiving ODA coins as well. Here at ODA class, we believe that in motivating your students, and we do it through ODA coins. Okay? We want you to learn and earn at the same time. So download the app, collect the ODA coins, through which you can visit to the ODA mall that is there in app itself and buy all these amazing gifts. So my dear students, that's it for today's session. Requesting all of you to stay healthy, stay awesome, do take care, and I'll be seeing you all in the crash course program. Okay? So till then, do not forget to hit a like, share, and subscribe to our channel. For now, requesting all of you to take care, stay healthy, stay awesome, and I'm signing off here. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.